What's up, SRL fans, and welcome to the season finale of the SRL International GT3 Championship at Fuji. We got the championship decided today, the championship showdown between Logan Orant and Max Molder. Ferrari versus Audi, level on points. Whoever finishes in front takes the crown. So we definitely got a spicy race ahead of us, and I can't wait for this one to get underway. But the two championship rivals, Max Molder and Logan Orant, already in the session. They've been trading wins and second places all season, and it all comes down to this. Level on points, both on 44 points. And who will be the champion? Will it be Logan Orant for the first time in the SRL League International GT3 Championship? Or will it be Max Molder going back to back after winning it last year? I'm Sandro Doulis, and I will be your commentator for the day. We got a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 1.5 hour race at Fuji. For your daily motorsport schedule, we will finish this just before the real-life F1 sprint race at Baku, so you won't miss any real-life F1 action, so don't worry about that. I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes to set up the stream, and I'll be right back. So we got 6 drivers in the session right now. 8 drivers signed up for the race, so we gotta wait for 2 more drivers to join in. Let's hope they make it into the session. Only got Audis and Ferraris in the session here at the moment. Obviously those 2 cars have been the dominant cars this championship. So we'll have to wait a couple more minutes on Sky Skandelmeyer and Josh Gates, who haven't shown up yet. Let me quickly send them another invite. Alright, I'll give them 2 more minutes and then we'll start into the 15-minute qualifying session. Will be very interesting to see what kind of conditions we're gonna have. Obviously, the track at Fuji, at the bottom of the Mount Fuji, always quite well known for poor weather conditions. And we've had a lot of those this season so far. So we were interested to see will be another wet race here at Japan. Currently got a stream of the Formula 2 race going on. Interesting start. But we gotta concentrate on this race as we're about to get going into qualifying. Obviously this race starting an hour earlier than we usually start our races here in SRL. And with this being an international league, we of course got drivers from America as well. Like Sky Skandelmeyer and Josh Gates, the 2 drivers that are missing currently. I mean, for them it's quite early in the morning. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, so obviously always a big chance that they might miss their alarm and oversleep, so that might be why we are still missing those 2. We'll give them a couple more minutes, but then we gotta get going anyway. So I mean, they got 15 minutes to join in qualifying as well, but of course would be good to have them in the session already. Quickly go through the drivers that we're going to have on the grid here today. Starting off with Senna Herbermeyer from Audi. Haven't seen Senna in, I think, since Essen it was, I think. That was the last time we saw Senna Hawaii. Put a good performance, especially in the first few laps. And then unfortunately dropped way back. We haven't seen Kaz Nurjans in a while either. Great driver, definitely someone to look out for a possible race win. Logan Arendt and Max Moller, the two championship rivals. One of those two will be winning the championship today. I just got a message from Josh Gates saying that he just woke up, so we will have him join here in a minute, hopefully, just as I expected. I mean, you can't really blame these drivers that come from overseas. They put on, they sacrifice a lot to be in this international league to race over here, because, I mean, they have to get up at like 7 in the morning on a weekend, on a Saturday, so definitely respect to all overseas drivers here in SRL. Yeah, we definitely appreciate the effort. And Josh Gates thankfully just woke up in time, so he can join the session here. I'll send him an invite and he'll be in the session in a minute, and then we can finally get going as well. Completing the driver lineup is Tim Bentic in the Ferrari. He had this infamous flip at Bathurst where he had this huge crash with, I think it was Josh Gates in the early laps. And then we got SRL League GT3 champion from Season 1, Nick van Gelder, obviously also an F1 champion in Season 4. And Josh Gates is about to join as well. We will get going now. Josh can join in the qualifying session. So now it will be very interesting to see what the weather conditions will be like. I mean, most drivers are quite used to the weather conditions on Project Cars 2 by now, but I mean, all the time it's quite a bit more challenging in the wet, especially with the puddles forming on this game. I think Project Cars 2 still has one of the, if not the best weather model in any sim racing game. And we are loading the session for the 15-minute qualifying session, the final one of this season. And this will set the grid for the season finale, the season showdown between Max Mulder and Logan Arendt. Hopefully a fair one, hopefully one without any incidents, major incidents, no disconnects hopefully. I know that's been an issue throughout the season, unfortunately. I mean, this game is 6.5 years old now, and servers are not up to the standards anymore, unfortunately. And we just had a disconnect. Of course we did. Who was that? That seems to be Senna Hawaii who disconnected from the session. I'm afraid that won't be the last one we've seen today, unfortunately. This is Kaz Nurjans leaving the pit lane. And Max Mulder's the first car out on track. I mean, he got the most points in the championship, but he's not the championship leader because he's level on points with Logan Arendt. But Logan Arendt got the tiebreaker because he has one win more than Max Mulder does. Both of them had this amazing last lap battle for the win 2 weeks ago at the Nürburgring Nordschleife in the wet. fantastic to see. Max Mulder catching up to the American in the final few minutes of this race. Then unfortunately overdrove it, found a puddle in the wet and lost his Audi and hit the wall and had to settle for second place. A crucial moment in the championship. And Max Mulder starts his first flying lap, and we will hop on board with our reigning champion. Will this be his last race as a reigning champion in SRL? Or could he do it again today? And thankfully Sandro just made his way back into the session. That is really good to see. And he's gone again. Max Mulder making his way into this very technical section of this racetrack. This track is really high speeds and Max Mulder gets out of the gas. So probably not that happy with this lap so far, and he will settle for another one. You see the Mount Fuji there on the left hand side. Beautiful scenery here on this racetrack. This is Logan Orant, our current championship leader. Wasn't the fastest driver at the Nürburgring Nordschleife 2 weeks ago, but the most consistent one, and in that race that mattered the most for sure. Max Mulder first one on the leaderboard with a 43.2, that won't be that competitive. We saw him getting out of the gas midway through the lap. And Logan Orant starts his first flying lap. My bad, that was his first flying lap. He sets a 39.0. Nurians will be the next one to complete his first flying lap. He goes second, 2 seconds off Logan Orant. And this is Nick van Gelder, who goes third. Van Gelder had a really good performance at the Nordschleife, then unfortunately made the wrong strategy call, was on the wrong tire at the wrong time, as he stayed out too long on the dries, and that really cost him in that race. And later on, unfortunately, ran out of fuel because he could not refuel his car due to a glitch in the game. And Nick van Gelder had to finish the race in 4th place. Had a really good shot at the podium, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be at the end. And apparently Senna Hervaya is not having connection issues, he's having wheel issues. So really hope Senna will be able to fix that in time for the race, otherwise it could be quite a challenge for him during the race. As Max Mulder is completing his first competitive lap time. No, he's not. And Senna Hervaya is back into the session, that's why we just saw a little bit of lag there. Logan Orant currently in the pits. He is on provisional pole after the first few laps have been completed with a 38.1. Max Mulder's yet to set a quick lap time. This infamous chicane, if you remember, during the Formula 1 Grand Prix here at Fuji in 2008, when the two championship rivals Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa collided in the chicane, sending Hamilton into a spin. Will we see more championship drama here today? We've seen it a lot at this place here at Fuji. Obviously just mentioned 2008, but the most famous one of course being 1976 in Formula 1 with James Hunt against Niki Lauda. Most of you have probably seen the film Rush. In the wet conditions, terrible conditions, Lauda deciding that it wasn't worth the risk. Max Mulder goes second place, only a tenth off Logan Orant. Really close between the two championship rivals. Tim Ventek still without a lap time. The Dutchman in the yellow DHL Ferrari. Oh, goes a little bit deep there off the racetrack. That definitely costs him a lot of time. Now into this long left-hander. And right into the next corner. Long uphill right. Really easy to get wrong. And Venting goes fourth quickest with 40 point. He drops right back to fifth because Nick van Gelder, I think, just set a lap time. This is Logan Orant. Let's hop on board with the American, who goes onto his second flying lap here. Hard braking into this right-hander. Quite similar to the Nürburgring turn 1 actually. Good overtaking point. To this left hand kick. It's a little quicker than it looks. Now flat out through this right hand. A little bit of lifting through the middle of it because the understeer is kicking in. Now into a little bit tighter version of turn 2. And now into this swooping right-hander. That really isn't a corner, to be honest. It's more like a bend straight. Now this very hard braking zone into this very technical triple chicane. Not the favorite under the drivers, unfortunately. But very challenging, of course. And now you get into the last few corners of this racetrack, which are really really difficult, especially to keep the tire temperatures as low as possible, because it's really easy to overheat the outside tires through these long corners. Constantly fighting the understeer through here, as you have to get onto the power very early to get onto this huge long straightaway. And that looked like quite a clean lap there from Logan Orant. Will be interesting to see if he can improve on his 38.1. It is at 38.0, so he goes about a tenth quicker now. And his gap to P2 is about 2 tenths now on Max Mulder, his championship rival. Can Mulder respond? Can see a lot of support for Max Mold on the live chat. We got two SRL League F1 regulars on the live chat with Nicolo Falzaresi and Freya Belay cheering on Max Smolder, who is coming to the line now to complete another flying lap. Will he be able to go provisional pole? Can he respond to his championship rival Logan Orant? No, he can't. And that is... he probably has time to go out for another lap here. Gotta put on a set of fresh tires. Nick van Gelder coming towards the final corner now. Does he have something for a front row start possibly, or will it be a front row lockout for the two championship rivals, Mulder and Orant? Van Gelder to the line, but unfortunately was not able to improve his lap time. And that is Mulder right behind him. He just came out of the pit on cold tires. We saw a massive power slide there from Mulder. This is Logan Orant, who's also out on the racetrack. And he goes back into the pits, and that is his qualifying session done. So Logan Orant is done for this qualifying session with a 38.0. Now it's on to Max Mulder. Is he able to beat that lap time in his final flying lap? He got 2.5 tenths to fine on this racetrack as he's really aggressively warming up those tires. So maybe the Audi driver is struggling for tire temperature a little bit. I've rarely seen a driver warm up tires that aggressively. "30 seconds left in the session." Of course, lap times that have been started before the time runs out are still able to be set. And let's hop on board with Max Mulder, the most important lap of this championship. In qualifying, of course, that is. Through turn 1 looked really clean and tidy. Flicks it into turn 2. Looked nice with turn 3 as well. Bit of understeer there, a little bit wide from Mulder. That definitely was not ideal. First 2 corners look fine though. He got traffic ahead. I think that might even, that's Nick van Gelder, that's his teammate, that should not be an issue. Into this technical section, gotta get the car turning. I think Nick van Gelder is definitely not helping his teammate here. Max Mulder probably has to fight through some dirty air. Onto the front straight. Or onto the curve for Mulder, that was not ideal, and onto grass a little bit. Don't think this will be enough for the young Dutchman. Smolder's coming to the line. Does he have something for Logan Orant? No, he doesn't. He stays second and does not improve on his time, unfortunately. And that is qualifying done. So Logan Orant and Max Mulder, the two championship leaders, will share row 1, followed by Kers Nurjans in 3rd. Then it is Nick van Gelder in 4th, so 3 Audis in the top 4. Then it is Tim Ventic in 5th and Senna Hervaya up in 6th place. I'm not sure if Josh Gates made it there in the end. I don't think he did, unfortunately. So we'll have 6 cars on the grid, 5 Dutchmen and 1 American. And it looks like good weather conditions, at least it's dry from the looks of it. Now we gotta wait for the drivers to make their final changes to the setup and the strategy. And then we're about to go for a final time in this 4th season of SRL League International GT3 Championship Racing here on Project Cars 2. We will look through the strategies later on when the first few laps are done, when the race has settled down a little bit, so we can check how much fuel everybody is taking. I think this should be an easy one stop, if it stays dry, that is, of course. And here we are. On the grid. Standing start. Max Mulder versus Logan Orand. 1.5 hours at Fuji. For the final time this season we are going. It's a good start from Logan Orand, who gets away better than Max Mulder. Max Mulder will tick back into the slipstream of Logan Orand. Will we have a look into turn 1? I think he's just too far away. No, he goes for it. Max Mulder down the inside of Logan Orand for the lead. And the lead in the championship, and Max Mulder gets Logan Orand. Nick van Gelder is going for 2nd place against Orand now. It's the ideal start for Mulder. Good start by Herweyer. He's up into 4th place behind Nick van Gelder. Goes a bit wide there. Tim Ventic on the inside. Herweyer stays in P4, but a great start from Max Mulder. The instant getaway wasn't that ideal, but then he just got into the slipstream of Logan Orand and just sent it down to turn 1. Late braking maneuver. And it's side by side between Ventic and Herweyer, really close there. Reminiscent of Hamilton and Massa in 2008. And the first lap is completed. And look at the Ferrari go. He's super quick on his front straightaway. Orand with 260, of course, in the slipstream of Max Mulder. Max Mulder a lot slower, and here comes Logan Orand to the outside, out of the slipstream. Max Mulder went defensive, had the inside line. They're side by side going into turn 2, and the championship rivals going at it here on lap 2 early on in this race. Max Mulder stays into the lead. Unfortunately, we have lost Nick van Gelder, who just disconnected off the session. I'm trying to sound surprised, I'm not at all. That is unfortunately Project Cars 2 for you. Actually quite glad this is the last race of this championship. I'm kind of sick seeing so few drivers finish these races, and disconnects definitely play a role in that. But let's hope we have an uninterrupted championship fight between these two great drivers. Both of them really deserve this championship throughout the season. You can make up your own mind to you would like to win this championship more, but both of them definitely deserve this. Two terrific drivers with two terrific seasons, and it just feels right that they are going at it for the race lead and for the championship here in the final race at Fuji, and Logan Orant is right there. Mulder had the better exit, goes onto the curve though, just like in qualifying. And Orant just seems to have the advantage here on the front straight with the Ferrari engine and the slipstream, of course. And just look him fly past Max Mulder. They haven't even reached the start-finish line. Does Mulder have something on the braking? He goes for the inside, just on the race start. Orant a little bit deep, and Max Mulder gets him back. So Orant got the advantage on the straight. Mulder got the advantage on the braking. And they're side by side again, going to the second corner. Mulder stays in first. Great defensive driving by the Dutchman. He wants the second championship bad. You can see that by the way he's driving. And Ethan Gelder on the live chat saying that his game crashed. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised at all. That unfortunately is just quite common this season. Everybody having issues with Project Cars 2. The game getting older and older, of course. And yeah. Definitely heartbreaking for Nick Gelder, who does not have a pleasant end to this championship. With a disconnect here very early on lap 2. Kaz Nurjan somehow has dropped down. Oh, Tim Ventic just went around. I was about to say that Kaz Nurjan's randomly lost quite a bit of time here. He dropped to last place. I think this lap Logan Orant is a bit too far away to try and move into turn 1 on Max Mulder. Oh, Logan Orant just spun. Orant is around. So an early mistake by the American, and he will drop down to third place. Senna Hauer goes by him. Kaz Nurjan goes by him. Could this be a championship deciding mistake there by Logan Orant? Oh, what drama here on lap 4. Logan Orant going for a spin. At Nürburgring it was Max Mulder who made the crucial mistake there in the closing stages of the race. Now it's Logan Orant with an early error here in the championship finale at Fuji. That has cost him around 7 seconds. He's now trailing Max Mulder by 8 seconds. But more importantly, he got 2 cars he needs to get by in order to be back into second place and got clean sailing ahead. But he got that Ferrari engine power. Look at that. He's already side by side with Nurjan. They just exited the last corner. I mean, with this pace, he's just gonna fly past both of them on this straight alone. Look at that. Oh, onto the grass. Big moment there from Orant against Senna Hellwire. To change line there quite aggressively in the last moment. Senna Hellwire going to the inside. He doesn't want to give up the second place position. There's contact between the two of them. Orant with the switchback move and Orant back into second. So took Logan Orant 1 lap to get back into the position he was before the spin. Now he got a 7.5 second gap to close to be back behind Max Mulder. Really good opening few laps from Senna Hellwire, I have to say. as he goes a little bit deep there. We saw that at Assen as well, when Hervé had a really good start to the race, unfortunately dropped off later, even led a few laps I think, when he was fighting with Max Mulder in the other Audi. Sandro Doulis still searching for that first SRL League podium in both the GT3 Championship and the F1 Championship, of course. Nürburgring's now in the slipstream of Hervé. Nürburgring's going to the inside in turn 1. He definitely got the advantage, the better line. And Nürburgring goes into third place. Sandro Doulis tries the switchback move, but it's not enough. He's still there. Nürburgring's not clear yet. Sandro Doulis holding strong on the outside, and now he's around. Doulis goes for a spin. He just lost it there on the exit. Quick spin though, back onto the racetrack. Tim Vantik gets by him. Sandro Doulis drops to 5th, the last running position. Doulis comes straight back at the Ferrari of Tim Vantik though, and Doulis is back into 4th place. Oh, look at this, Vantik going down the inside of Mulder into the chicane. Mulder going a little bit deep there, and Vantik got the position. The gap between the two championship rivals, Orand and Mulder at the front, is at around 7 seconds now, so it's come down a little bit by a few tenths. Now, Ferrari versus Audi. The Audi got the slipstream here from Sandro Doulis. But even though he got the slipstream, Tim Vantik is getting away, so it's definitely a massive speed advantage for the Ferrari. Oh, Doulis very late on the brakes, going down the inside of Tim Vantik, but Tim Vantik gets the switchback move done as Sandro Doulis goes very deep. Mulder and Orand are now separated by just over 6 seconds. So that gap is coming down. On board with Orand. Let's see the top speed difference between the Audi and the Ferrari. We got Max Mulder here. You can see the top speed on the right hand side. He will reach 261 just before the braking. Let's see what Orand can do. It's 269, so 8 kilometers an hour quicker than the Audi. On a long straight like this one here at Fuji, that is definitely a big advantage, especially in wheel-to-wheel battles, of course. Last lap around on lap 7. Max Moller and Logan Arendt almost setting the exact same lap time as Tim Ventic just passed Santa Helvire, who seemingly had some kind of issue there. And a new fastest lap of the race by Logan Arendt. He just put in a 39.6. And that is 0.6 quicker than race leader Max Moller. The gap has now come down to just under 6 seconds. However, on this lap has dropped behind Tim Ventic after an error in the chicane. Another 39 from Logan Arendt on the last lap. This time over a second quicker than Max Moller. Arendt is coming. He seemingly is having a pace advantage at this stage of the race. Obviously gotta push a little bit more than Max Moller here. He gotta make up for the mistake he made early on. .3 seconds. The gap is coming down. At this rate, we will have a battle for the lead here in about 5 laps time. Another new fastest lap of the race by Logan Arendt. A 39.5. That is a second quicker than Max Moller, who just did the 40.5. But more importantly, both of these drivers are the top of the field here. They are a lot quicker than anybody else here on the racetrack right now. The next quickest car on track, last lap at least, was Tim Ventic in 4th with a 41.2. Gap now coming down to just over 3 seconds. .6. Arendt is coming. I said we would possibly see him there in about 5 laps. At this rate, he will be there on the next lap. Max Mulder can see the American in his mirrors, I'm sure. I mean, if you take a look at the gap, it really seems like, I mean, Logan Orange is gaining so much time in the final sector because of that long straightaway. It seems like his biggest advantage definitely seems to be the straight line, which in a battle for position, of course, is a huge advantage. That is Senna Hervaya. He's trailing Tim Vantik for P4 by 10 seconds, so he's probably made a mistake somewhere. We unfortunately have missed that. On board with Logan Orant. Currently, if it stays like this, he would lose the championship to Max Mulder. Remember, both of these drivers level on points, on 44 points. The winner gets 10 points, second place gets 8 points, third place gets 6 points. Plus you get 1 extra point for the flying lap, for the fastest lap of the race. So that would make Max Mulder GT3 champion by 1 point at the moment. Obviously Logan Orant having that fastest lap of the race currently. Looks like the weather conditions out there are changing a little bit at the moment. It's a lot more foggy than at the beginning of the race. Yeah, look at this deep fog. Very common in this area, of course, with the famous volcano, the Mount Fuji in the background here. This racetrack was built just at the bottom of the Mount Fuji. Oh, a bit of a mistake there by Orange, who misses the corner, kind of. Went very deep, and that cost him around 7-8 tenths. Very difficult now for the TV cameras to pick up the cars in all this fog. So I think we have to settle for onboard cameras, mainly. As you might have seen already early on, both of these drivers have the same amount of fuel in the car, so they are both on the same strategy. Both put as much fuel in the car as it was possible, and both of them will be on a one-stop strategy. Yeah, on the last lap, Logan Oran being 7/10 slower than Max Mulder, so that mistake into turn 4 definitely cost Logan Oran a little bit, as he outbraked himself going into this right corner here. Much better this time around. And the gap is now down to 2 seconds. Lee van Gelder explaining his early retirement on the live chat currently, explaining how his game crashed, unfortunately, how he got a blue screen when he tried to look behind himself, and unfortunately he was out of the race very early on. Definitely unfortunate, as he's explained that he felt really comfortable with his setup on this racetrack, so it's a shame we never really got to see what Nick van Gelder, what kind of pace van Gelder had in him. Logan Oran getting closer and closer. A little bit of a twitch there on the apex of turn 1 for Logan Oran. Oh, Max Mulder just hit the bollard on the inside of turn 2. You could just see the bollard flying around as Logan Oran came through that corner. Logan Oran is there, look at that, he closed the gap massively under the braking zone into the chicane. And now going into the front straight, Logan Oran has a huge straight line speed advantage over Max Mulder, and he got the slipstream as well. The Ferrari being the dominant car in the straight line, will Logan Oran be able to go for the lead going to turn 1? It took him about 10 laps to recover from his mistake on lap 7. Logan Oran now going back for the lead. He looks to the outside of Max Mulder. Max Mulder covers the inside. Logan Oran, will he try the switchback? Max Mulder blocks him off. Bit of a moment there on the exit for the Dutchman. They're side by side going into turn 2. Mulder has the inside. Oh, contact! Max Mulder lost it on the exit of turn 2. Logan Oran ran into the back of him. And Logan Oran takes the race lead here on lap 17. And the championship lead has changed again. Now Logan Oran would be your SRL League GT3 Season 4 champion. Can Mulder recover from that? There was definitely some contact between the two of them. I think Max Mulder just got loose on the exit of turn 2. And Logan Oran really didn't have anywhere to go, so you can't really put any blame there on Oran. Let's see if Mulder can recover from that. He's now trailing Logan Orange by 3 seconds. I mean, with the current pace of Logan Orange, I think Max Mulder has to hope for mistakes from Orange like he did on lap 7. Because I'm not too sure Max Mulder will be able to get Logan Orange on pace in this race. I mean, the straight line speed advantage of the Ferrari is just huge. I mean, we saw it on the last lap, how Logan Orange just came closer and closer and closer. And then was able to go for the move into turn 1, while in the final corner, when he exited the final corner, he really wasn't in a position to go for a possible overtake. But this front straightaway is so long, the 8 km/h disadvantage of the Audi is definitely hurting Max Mulder. So we have 1 hour to go, 30 minutes down. Let's take a quick look at the current standings. So we got Logan Orange leading the way. That, if it ends right now, that would win Logan Orange the championship over Max Mulder. Remember, the two drivers were level on points going into this race. Orange also has... No, he doesn't. Oh, yes, he has. Logan Orange also with the fastest lap of the race by just a 10th over Max Mulder. Then it's Kaz Nukian 17 seconds behind the leading pair of Mulder and Orange. Then it is Tim Ventic in 4th place, and then Senna Hervey in 5th place. Hervey got a 3-second time penalty due to corner cutting to his name. And Max Mulder has closed the gap to Logan Orange again. You remember, it was 3 seconds, now it's just 5/10. I don't know what's happened to Orange, he seems to struggle a little bit. I think it's starting to rain here. I mean, you can hear it in the background. You can hear raindrops hitting the windshield of Max Mulder. And you said earlier, the weather conditions are changing. We started with pretty much clear skies, and now it became really foggy. After about 10 laps, look, Max Mulder is right there on the bumper of Logan Orange. And I think it's starting to rain, and I feel like Logan Orange seems to struggle a little bit in these possibly damp conditions out there on the racetrack now, here on lap 19. Max Mulder. I mean, you won't be able to get him on the straight, here on the front straightaway. The Ferrari is just too fast. But on this lap alone, Max Mulder has gained 3 seconds on Logan Orange. And I just thought that Max Mulder's championship hopes might be in jeopardy. The weather might play into his hands here after all. The rain is definitely coming down. And I know pre-race that Max Mulder was hoping for rain and wet weather conditions, so I feel like the Dutchman is possibly, or probably, quite well prepared for this scenario. And that's probably why we're seeing him having such a pace advantage compared to Logan Orange, at least at the moment. Oh, a little bit of a tank slapper there midway through the chicane by Max Mulder. His rear end just stepped out a little bit. The conditions must be getting a little bit treacherous here at this point. All drivers still on slick tires, and the rain is definitely coming down, and the track will be damp at this point. Max Mulder, the championship lead in sight. And there's a mistake by Orand. Orand just lost a little bit on the exit of turn 2, got to the outside of the long right turn 3, and Max Mulder retakes the lead here on lap 21. Can Orand respond again? Oh, deep there by Max Mulder. Logan Orand, can he get the switchback move done? Both of these drivers still on slick tires. The rain is coming down hard here at Fuji. Will anyone pit on this lap? Who goes for the wets first? Oh, bit of a moment there for Mulder on the exit of the last corner. He's onto the grass, and here comes Logan Orand with that massive straight line speed advantage, and Orand is going to lead lap 21. So Max Mulder definitely seems to struggle a little bit through the final corner. He's made this mistake 3 times now. Made it in on his flying qualifying lap. On lap 2, and now a bit of a moment there from Orand as he goes deep into turn 1. Max Mulder is not able to make the move, unfortunately for him. Or Orand wide again into turn 2. Max Mulder retakes the lead. These two are swapping the race lead at the moment, and the championship lead as well. Mulder deep. Orand to the outside. The next corner is a right-hand corner, so Max Mulder got the inside line. Can Logan Orand close the door? He cannot. Max Mulder stays in first place. Logan Orand had a better exit coming out the chicane, but there's really no chance to make a move through these corners here. Very late on the brakes there by Logan Orand. But it doesn't have to make a move through here because the straight is coming up and the Ferrari is just so dominant in the straight line. And he's currently 4 tenths behind him, and he will be past Max Mulder by the start finish line. There he goes. Max Mulder tries to go defensive, but there's really nothing he can do. But Mulder really strong on the brakes. Again on this occasion, again Max Mulder stays in the lead. It's really interesting to see how just Logan Orand has this huge straight line speed advantage, but Max Mulder is just so dominant under braking. Lap times have dropped by around 2 seconds in these conditions compared to early on when we were in the dry. Of course, these drivers still on slick tires. They haven't swapped over to the wets. Here comes Orand. He thought about going to the inside of the chicane. Thought better of it. I mean, Orand really does not have to make a move throughout the lap. He just gotta stay right behind Mulder and wait for the front straight. Max Mulder covers the inside in turn 1. Logan Orand did not go for the slipstream on this occasion. Interesting decision by the American. I think that definitely cost him a chance to get Max Mulder here on the front straight, but this time he tries a switchback move on the exit of turn 1. He now got the outside line going to turn 2. Max Mulder is still there, and Max Mulder keeps P1. It's a bit of a moment there. Logan Orange spins. Both drivers had a moment. The track is getting wet, boys. And Orange is back going. He lost around 6 seconds on Max Mulder. Both drivers struggled there through turn 2. Maybe turn 2 is the wettest part of the racetrack at the moment. Maybe we have reached the crossover point here for wet tires. I'm not too sure, but I feel like the sun is coming back out again. Senna Hervaya comes into the pits. So is he the first driver to swap over to the wet tires? As Hervaya goes one lap down here on lap 24. And Logan Orange goes for the... Yeah, Logan Orange pits as well. So Logan Orange, the first of our 2 championship favorites, or championship rivals, let's say, going for a pit stop here. And I think, yeah, look at this on the left hand side, you can see the grooves in the tires. He's definitely going for wet tires. Nurjan's pits as well. And I imagine Tim Vantik will go into the pits as well. So only Max Mulder remains out on the racetrack on slick tires. Very interesting decision by Mulder. Staying out the lap longer on slicks. Oh, the back end is stepping out there through the chicane. He's definitely struggling for grip here on the grass as well. I think this extra lap might cost Max Mulder heat. Logan Orange already back out on the racetrack. He did not take any fuel, seems like it. Oh, maybe he did. I think he did a little bit. Like around 20 liters possibly. And Max Mulder pits on this lap. So Max Mulder comes into the pits for the wet tires a lap later than championship rival Logan Orange. And wet tires it is for Max Mulder as well, as you can see on the left hand side of your screen. Is he taking any fuel? Yes, he is, also around 20 liters, so exact same strategy from both Orange and Mulder. Where's Orange? Orange got traffic ahead by Senna Hervaya. That is Max Mulder's Audi teammate. Is he helping out his teammate here a little bit possibly? There are no blue flags here in the GT3 Championship. It's endurance rules, so there's no... Yeah, you don't have to get out of the way for lapped cars. Logan Orange now on the front straightaway. Max Mulder is exiting the pits. And out of the pits comes Max Mulder. Here's Logan Orange. Logan Orange has definitely gained some time back on Max Mulder. That extra lap on slick tires probably was not the right call by Max Mulder. It wasn't as costly as it could have been, as he remains in the race lead, but it cost him around 5 seconds on that extra lap. And Logan Orand, of course, he got an extra lap on his wet tires, so he probably got more temperatures in those wet tires at the moment. Orand seems to be a little bit quicker at this stage of the race. The gap is down to 1.3 seconds. Nürburgring currently running in 3rd place, 12 seconds behind the leading pair. Nürburgring's a great driver in the wet conditions. Always have to remember his SRL League debut a season ago at Portimao, when he was leading by, I think, about a minute in the wet conditions, and then unfortunately disconnected in the last 10 minutes of the race. Definitely a heartbreaking debut for Nürburgring. He's currently running in the podium position. This time Max Mulder was 6 tenths quicker than Logan Orand, so it seems like Max Mulder has his tires onto a higher temperature now, probably. Senna Halvaya back into the pits. That is his 2nd pit stop. He's going for another set of wet tires, it seems like. So this is possibly a stop for repairs. So Halvaya, who's currently running a lap down, possibly had a moment somewhere. Max Mulder did a 47.0, 47.5 from Orand, so another half a second gained for Max Mulder, who, as I said earlier, in the dry, I think Logan Orand's pace today is unmatched, but Max Mulder is just so good in these wet conditions. We got 40 minutes left in this race, so we are just over halfway through the race, and I bet Max Mulder is just hoping that these conditions won't change. Oh, Senna Halvaya just spun right in front of Max Mulder, and Logan Orand has hit him. Logan Orange just hit the spun car of Senna Herweier, who was sitting in the middle of the racing line. Max Mulder was able to avoid him in the last second. Logan Orange less fortunate. I mean, that is a really blind corner, so it's definitely very difficult to see a car sitting there in the middle of the racing line. I personally still think that Senna Herweier did the right thing, just sitting there, staying there, because if he would have flipped the car around, that could have been a much bigger problem. As Senna Herweier misses turn 1, I think he's struggling massively with possible damage. What kind of damage has Logan Orange suffered? So quickly checked the live stream of one of the drivers to listen a bit into the voice chat, and it seems like Logan Orange is very frustrated with Senna Herweier. He expected Herweier to move from the racing line, and I get what Logan Orange is trying to say, but if you're in a blind corner sitting in the middle of the track, you probably just want to stay where you're at, to be honest with you. If he flicks the car around and has movement in the car, it's very unpredictable where the car is going, so it's a really difficult situation for Senna Herweier, and I don't think you can put much blame on him whatsoever. Seems like Logan Orange's car is only cosmetically damaged because he's only a tenth slower currently than Max Mulder, so I mean, if there's damage, which I think there is, it's probably just marginal, thankfully. The gap is very stable around 4.3 seconds, 4 seconds now, 4.2. So just around 4 seconds. Orange has dropped a little bit further behind on this lap. It's now, the gap is now up to 5.7 seconds. That is Max Moeller, who gets onto the grass and spins around to turn 1, just in front of the leaders. He has just lost his rear wing. Sandro having a difficult day after a good start to the race. He's now 3 laps down. Logan Arendt on the last lap, over a second slower than Max Moeller. I know I'm repeating myself, but this win would mean that Max Moeller wins this championship. Remember, going into this race, both drivers on 44 points. Logan Arendt leading the championship due to the tiebreaker. Logan Arendt has 3 wins on the season. He won at Daytona in the season opener, and he won the last 2 rounds at Bathurst and at the Nordschleife. Max Moeller won the other 2 races at Donington Park and at Brno. I think I said Assen earlier a lot. I meant Brno. Kinda mixed those 2 tracks up, excuse me. So all victories this season have come from both drivers. So it's been either Max Moeller on the top step of the podium or Logan Arendt. Third in the championship will go to Cas Nurians, who's running in 3rd place as well. He is on the same pace as the 2 leaders currently, running 12 seconds behind the pair. Nurians has missed the last 2 races of this championship. He finished 3rd, 2nd and 3rd throughout the first 3 races of the season. He's currently sitting 4th in the championship, 2 points behind Dion Stahl, who is not here today, so Cas Nurians will take over 3rd in the championship. and Helvire has made his way back into the pits to get the damage repaired. On board with Logan Orand, he's trailing race leader and a possible championship ahead with Max Mulder by 8 seconds currently. Logan around 1.5 seconds slower this time than Max Mulder. The championship is slipping away. I think Logan Orand really has to hope for a mistake by Max Mulder at this point, or a possible weather change. But I mean, that weather change has to come as soon as possible for the American. Oh, that was Kaz Nurians going deep into the chicane. Kaz Nurians has closed down the gap to Logan Orand, and Logan Orand will have to fend off Kaz Nurians here quite soon. Nurians driving a really good race. And look at this, Logan Orant has been caught by Kaz Nurjans. Kaz Nurjans is right there. This could be championship deciding. And Nurjans now to the outside, going to the chicane. Logan Armand stays strong on the inside. Will he make the corner? Just about. Nurjans looking for a possible switchback move. Nurjans to the outside. Was very wet there on the outside. Logan Armand stays in second for now. Nurjans got the next corner, and Nurjans comes and takes second place away from Logan Armand. Max Muller is loving this. He's now leading by 12 seconds over his championship rival, with just over 20 minutes to go in this race. Max Mulder. 18 minutes left until his second SRL League International GT3 Championship. It hasn't been his perfect season. While he's been probably the quickest driver speed-wise throughout the season, the Dutchman has made a lot of mistakes, like 2 weeks ago at the Nordschleife, for example, when he should have been patient with Logan Arand on the final lap of the race for the win. But he wanted to get the move done. He was on the edge, on the limit, overdrove the car, got into a puddle there in the wet conditions, and yeah, threw a possible win away. That really put his championship into jeopardy going into this race here at Fuji. Level on points, but the tiebreaker would have gone to Logan Orant. Today, apart from that, yeah, one oversteer moment on the exit of turn 2 and a little bit of a strategy mistake by staying out a lap longer when the rain started coming down, Max Mulder has really been mistake-free, and he has driven an almost perfect championship finale here at Fuji. As we can see Sandro Doulis going through the grass there in the background. He has had a really rough day. As we're getting closer towards the end of the race, I'm going to mention that this is the final race of the SRL League GT3 Championship on Project Cars 2. There will not be another season next year in these GT3 cars on this sim. Still to be discussed if there will be a replacement as Sandro Doulis comes flying into the picture. He lost it under braking on a puddle coming into the chicane. Yeah, we've not decided if there will be a replacement for this championship on a different simulator. But for now, it's definitely for sure that this will be the last season of this championship, and this will be the last race of this championship. Obviously we had Nifan Gelder taking the crown in Season 1 for Audi. Then it was Jensen Randall who did the double, the F1 Championship and the GT3 Championship in Season 2. Last season was Max Mulder who came out on top, and this season, with 60 minutes to go, it looks like Max Mulder could go back to back. Also gotta give a little bit of a shout out here to Alexei Koivuniemen, SRL League F1 driver, turned 26 yesterday, so congratulations, happy birthday to Finland. I'm mentioning Alexei Koivuniemen because he's well known for his love to this racetrack here at Fuji. He's driven here as well in the past in the SRL League International GT3 Championship. Unfortunately, he hasn't driven in this series for 2 seasons now. Obviously was part of the championship in Season 1 and won at Fuji in the BMW, in the mighty BMW. But yeah. Cas Nurjans. I mean, this run is probably coming a little late, but Cas Nurjans is flying. I mean, at this point, Logan Orant is, by the way, now 30 seconds behind Max Mulder, the championship leader and the race leader. Last lap was a 55, so he must have made a mistake somewhere, and you gotta watch out that Tim Bentic, his Ferrari teammate, is not coming for that final spot on the podium. Cas Nurjans is only 11 seconds behind Max Mulder. At this point, if Max Mulder makes a mistake here and Cas Nurjans gets by him, that could cost him dearly, because, I mean, yes, after all, Max Mulder would still score more points on the racetrack, but Logan Orant has currently the fastest lap of the race, which would be an extra point. So that would mean... Oh no, excuse me, I made a mistake. Of course, P2 and P3 are separated by 2 points in this championship. Then behind 3rd, 4th and 5th, they are all separated by 1 point. So it would be still fine for Max Mulder. Because of course, P2 pays you 8 championship points and P3 pays you 6 championship points. I was thinking about behind the positions, so P4 would give you 5 championship points. Because that was a conversation before the race. Of course, both drivers are level on points going into this round, but I mean, if they would have finished 3rd and 4th place would have the fastest lap, the driver with the tiebreaker would win the championship, and that could have been the driver who finishes behind and has the fastest lap. In this case, could have been Logan Orant. But of course, Max Mulder is leading the way. Kasnukens is catching up to him. The gap is now down to under 8 seconds, with 12 minutes to go in this race. Quickly send an invite here to Nifan Gelder, who of course retired early on in this race due to a disconnect when his game crashed, unfortunately. Yeah, Nifan Gelder requested to join the booth for the last 12 minutes of this race. And there he is. Helnik, welcome to the booth.
Hello, man. Yeah, it's not the way I wanted to end the season, of course. It's a great shame that I disconnected already after the first lap on the start-finish straight. But yeah, I guess that's also how things go sometimes in racing. We've seen a lot of issues this season for quite a few drivers, so yeah, I guess there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, I mean, still we had quite an interesting fight for the championship, which is looking to go to Max at the moment.
Yeah, of course you fell victim, unfortunately, to an issue that has been present throughout the entire season, which has been disconnects and game crashes, which is a real shame, because I think that really has damaged this season so far. But yeah, we're coming to the end of this championship right now with Max Mulder leading the way. Kasnukens is catching up to him big time, so we might have a battle for the win here at the end, but I doubt that Max Mulder will fight him too hard, because he got the championship in mind, with Logan Orant dropping further and further behind. At this point I have to imagine that he possibly picked up some damage with the contact between himself and Senna Herweier. Tim Ventic is now getting closer to a possible podium spot. He's currently running 11 seconds behind his Ferrari teammate Logan Orant.
Yeah, I saw that Senna, I think he spun, didn't he, in the final corner, and Logan was compromised because of that. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I heard that something went on between Senna Herweier and Logan Orant. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see that Cas Doulis has got some good pace here in the final stage of this race, closing down the gap to Max Mulder 7.2 seconds. We're interested to see if Max does try and fight this to try and win the race, if Cas Doulis actually catches up. It's going to be a tough ask with only 10 minutes remaining. But yeah, even Logan Orant is falling into the clutches of Tim Ventic now for GT3. But yeah, it's such a shame to end the season like this, because yeah, this season has been pretty tough for me in GT3. I basically only had one good race, which was Donington, where I had a podium, but apart from that, you know, I had the race, the first round of the season in Indianapolis, where I ran out of fuel. I had, you know, the Nordschleife last month, where I had a really good race, but I had the glitch where I couldn't refuel, so I run out of fuel. And then I had Brno, where I just made a mistake on the setup, and I had absolutely no pace and was struggling a lot. So there have been a lot of races. Of course, I missed Bathurst as well, which is usually a strong track as well. So there have been a lot of points in the season where I really felt like I could have had potential, like here as well in Fuji, where I think my pace was pretty decent, and I was feeling good. But yeah, unfortunately, it's been a difficult season with quite a bit of bad luck as well. And especially considering this is the last race of the season, maybe, I don't know what the plans are for the future of GT3 and SRL, but potentially the last race of Fuji Cars 2, I'm not sure about that, but it would be a great shame to end the Fuji Cars 2 series like this for me, with disconnect after the first lap here in Fuji.
Yeah, of course, it's been, I would say, oh, just something pop up here that I keep an eye on. Yeah, of course, this season it's been very difficult generally for most drivers to to score podiums, because I think the gap between the top 3 and everybody else in this championship, especially this season, has been massive. I mean, Max Mulder and Logan Oran themselves have been on another level, and Kaz Nurians, of course, he missed the last 2 races, but at the beginning of the season as well, Kaz Nurians is up there, as he's currently catching Max Mulder especially. I think it's just very difficult, as Senna Hellfire goes for a huge spin into the chicane. That's the second time he's done that. Every time we watch Max Mulder, we see Senna Hellfire sliding through the picture. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is, generally speaking, it's very difficult for any other driver to pick up podiums this season, with the top 3 being so quick.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, Max Mulder, Logan Ron, also Castagnets in the race that he has been present as. You know, they have shown some really impressive performances in this season of GT3. But yeah, I'm not sure if you are aware of what the future plans are for this series, whether we're going to continue on this game potentially, or move to a game like Gran Turismo. I mean, I would really, despite all the issues and despite the issues I've had myself, it would be really sad to see the series go, in my opinion. And also, apart from the fact that Project Cars 2 can be very unstable, I actually really like this game, you know, when it works, and I think the physics are really good, and I think it is very much suited towards a series like this, like GT3. It's just a shame about the issues that we've had, and the disconnects and the glitches, like the fuel glitch I had as well at the Nordschleife, which I think has happened as well at some point to some other drivers. But I think apart from that, Project Cars 2 is a good game. It's just a shame that it's so unstable sometimes.
Yeah, I've mentioned it earlier on in this stream. This will be the last race of the GT3 Championship on this game. I'm not sure what the future holds for the second series that runs alongside the F1 Championship, but it's yeah, with the drivers not showing up, us having very big internet and also game stabilization issues. This game is now 6 years old. And you can feel it, unfortunately. The servers are not getting any better, and it's been a real struggle this season, to say at least. And I'm not saying that we're turning our back fully to Project Cars 2 as a simulator, but this will be the final race of the GT3 Championship.
Okay, I mean, that is understandable. Like you explained before, with all the reasons, it is definitely a game that is at the end of its life cycle, and there's just been too many problems. So you can see Max Mulder having a bit of a slight climb to the final corner. But it is a shame, to be honest, to see at least the GT3 series end on this game, because I think we have seen some good races despite the problems and despite the lack of popularity we've seen for the series. We've still had some good races, like in Donington, of course, that epic last lap battle between Max Mulder and Castagnets, and also even the previous round, of course, at the Nordschleife, where we had that battle between Max and Logan Ron as well before the race leads. So it's a shame that there is potential, but there are just too many issues. But also, from my personal side, I mean, I've had some great races on this game, and some really good memories also with the SRL GT3 races, and it's just a shame that my final season and even my final race on this game in SRL has gone the way it went.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the racing itself has been an issue. I think we've seen, despite the very, very, very tiny grids this season, I think we still have seen amazing battles, especially between Max Mulder and Logan Oran. I mean, just look at the Nürburgring Nordschleife race 2 weeks ago, which saw a fantastic battle between the two of them. And even today, in the first half of this race, we saw some great wheel-to-wheel battles. I think the racing performance hasn't been the main issue. It's just been the small grids, of course, the technical difficulties we've had, but it won't be a sad end to the championship. I think we have great memories of this series throughout the last four seasons. I think great races come to mind, especially if you remember something like Indianapolis, for example, where you battled Dion Star on the final lap. Races like that will definitely stay in our memories for a long time to come, and I think this championship has done its job as a second series next to the F1 Championship.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you mentioned those races. I mean, a race like Indianapolis, that was amazing. A final lap like that is something. That's still one of my best and my favorite league races I've ever had. It's definitely up there with, races like Mexico Season 4 F1 or Brazil Season 4. It's definitely one of my favorite league racing memories, to be honest. And also, I think I even won this race here in Fuji a couple of seasons ago. I think it was in that same season, in season 1.
Yeah, when we both battled for the
Oh yeah,
win in the last lap.
Yeah, actually, in season 1 I finished in second here, I believe, and I think the battle with you was in season 2, wasn't it? Where we battled for the race win. Yeah.
It was in season 2. Yeah, season 1 was Alexei Koivaniemi. He won.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, I mean, we definitely had some great races in the series. So that's definitely a great thing to look back on. And yeah, Indianapolis was amazing. Having a race-long fight with Dion Stein, starting the last lap like 2 seconds behind, just going all in and still managing to win. That was, the stress and also the determination and just the excitement of a race like that is just amazing. And yeah, of course, I think we still have the annual Indy 500 races and also 2.4 Hours of Le Mans. Even the Snowball Derby that we've had, I'm not sure. I think we are planning to continue those races, aren't we, on Push 2? But I think it's just for the GT3 that we're maybe looking to go somewhere else for the future.
Yeah, definitely not a final decision made on that, but like what the second series will look like in the future. But it's definitely planned that the Crown Jewel races like Indianapolis and Le Mans, and maybe even the Snowball Derby with a return, that these races will remain on the calendar in future seasons.
Okay, yeah. And about GT3, are we gonna move on to something else like Gran Turismo, or is it gonna be a series that will be continuing?
That is still in discussions. There's no final decision made there. It's just the decision is definitely that we will not continue on Project Cars 2 with the second series.
Okay. I think 1.5 minutes to go in this race, Max Moulder just crossed the line, but I think he will still cross the line when there's still some time left, so this is probably going to be the penultimate lap of this race.
He crossed the line with 1:44 seconds, 1 minute and 44 seconds to go. Current lap times are 1:47, so yeah, it's going to be the final lap.
Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, I thought he had a bit more spare time left, but this is the final lap because Noyes hasn't managed to close down the gap. He did close it down to under 5 seconds. Was Logan Ron still maintaining that 10-second gap to Tim Benting in 4th place.
Yeah, definitely a very, very impressive run there at the end of the race from Carsten Nurjans. Just a little too late, but we know Carsten Nurjans as a great driver in the wet. Generally, the Audi works very well in the wet. We saw a big advantage for Logan Orant in the early stages of this race. The championship almost slipped out of the hands of Max Mulder, but the rain came, and that was definitely a game changer in this race. Changed the complete picture of this race. Small strategy error by Max Mulder, who pitted a lap too late when the rain came down, but in the end it was meant to be for Max Mulder today, and today is going to be his big day, the second big day in the GT3 Championship for Max Mulder as he comes through the final corner onto the front straight, weaving in the wet. What a close championship fight it has been. Logan Orant and Max Mulder battled for the crown throughout the entire season. But in the end, it's Max Mulder who wins in the Fuji rain and takes his second international GT3 title in a row. Congratulations to the boy from Hattem in Netherlands. What a performance.
Yeah, big congratulations to Max Mulder. What a race today and what a season it has been indeed. And well done Casnoins as well for finishing in 2nd place. And Logan Aron in 3rd place. He could not have done anything more. I mean, when the rain started to fall, it just fell too far back. But he's definitely showed that he has had some great races and some great pace this season. And they both would have deserved the championship. But it's great to see Max Mulder come out on top and Logan Aron coming home in 3rd place in this final race. Luckily, the race in Nordschleife hasn't cost Max Mulder, because I think he has had some sleepless nights after that race in Nordschleife where he threw away the race win on the last lap, but he has turned it around to win his 2nd championship in a row.
Yeah, very impressive by the young Dutchman. Of course, Logan Orant put out a great fight, and I said it earlier, both of these drivers deserve this championship. It did not matter how this final race would end. Both drivers put on a fantastic show this season, and I mean, both drivers will finish with 3 race wins, and no other driver has won a race this championship, so I mean, that speaks for itself. And looking at the race results, Max Mulder does not only win at Fuji, he also claims the championship against Logan Orant. Carsten Nurjans, with a late rally, finishes second, 5 seconds behind Max Mulder. Logan Orant holds on to 3rd place, in front of Tim Ventic, who finishes P4. Senna Helvaya 10 laps down, had a really tough day, finishes P5. Nick van Gelder, our only retirement of the race, unfortunately disconnected due to a game crash early on in the race, and P7 goes to Josh Gates, who just joined too late into the session to get to the race start. And yeah, that has been it from the SRL League International GT3 Championship. The F1 season is not finished yet. We got 3 races to go over there. We got the debut, the first race at Miami next week on Saturday, so definitely tune in for that. It's 1 p.m. UK time, 14 o'clock in the European Standard Time. So make sure you tune in for that. I'll be back on the racetrack. Nick will be back on the racetrack. You will have your F1 commentator Lance LeBron back in the booth. I'm definitely really excited for the race at Miami. Stay up to date with all the news, the standings, the results, possible interviews after the race on our Instagram account. The link is down below in the description. Also, watch out for the Mexican Grand Prix recap video, which is coming out next week on Wednesday from the F1 series, with some really interesting onboard replays that you probably have not seen yet on the live stream. And yeah, that has been it from the GT3 Championship. Any final words from Nick?
I mean, it's been a great series here, having 4 seasons in GT3 and Project Rush 2, and great final season with Max Mulder and Logan Deron fighting for the championship and starting the final round level on points. And some good memories on this game, and certainly also from my side. It's just a shame to end it in a disconnect, but I mean, that's just how it goes. So thank you Project Rush 2, and thanks to SRL for this series here in GT3. It certainly has been a good series with some good racing, despite all the issues. So it's a great way to round it out in general, and looking forward to the rest of the F1 season and to all the future events in SRL.
Yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel to see more SRL League racing. I've been Sandro, this has been Nick, and we'll see you next week at Miami.